in the same way that men have access to their feminine. And there are many archetypal, historical examples of mother divine energy. So maybe you could speak to that a little bit about these long-standing examples that we have in our culture. Different cultures express them different ways. Some examples that come to mind for you, I'm sure.
Well, gosh, if you look back historically at ancient cultures and societies, Mother Divine was utterly revered. Throughout Egypt, Greece, throughout the East, there was different archetypes, all the many faces of Mother Divine and how she expresses, and usually unique to the culture. If you look at modern religion today, whether it be Catholicism, Mother Mary, beloved Guadalupe from Mexico, Kuan Yin, the embodiment of compassion and mercy, Lady Tara from Tibetan culture and lineage, and as well Kali and Durga from India or from the East, they all express fractals or the many faces of Mother Divine.
Yes, that's right. I love the different archetypes. And you and Tony teach this in your Platinum seminar, even the different archetypes of woman. We were speaking with a friend of ours the other day who was talking about the four mothers in Judaism: Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. I personally grew up in a household steeped in the Catholic faith. My father went to an elementary school. He grew up in New York City. He went to an elementary school in Queens called Our Lady of Perpetual Help, which is just a notion I really love as one way to refer to the Blessed Mother. There's one way to refer to the Blessed Mother as the Untier of Knots.
Yes.
Or Our Lady of Golden Happiness. And all these different are, Queen of Peace, Comforter to the Afflicted. These ideas. And to me, when I think about what being a mother, what tapping into feminine energy means, that is the essence of what I strive for. And in times when I feel out of balance, that's what I hope to get back to, is these core essentials, like untying knots, like golden happiness, like comforting the afflicted. And I think that's, to me, the essence of the universality of motherhood. But I do think that wholeness is found in men and women and children, as we see in our little one. That just, these children just brim with this naturally.
It's beautiful to recognize the divine attributes that we're all born with, and you expressed, I think it's such a beautiful metaphor, the untier of knots. If you think of any well-minded mother, when our little ones are conflicted or having a challenge, you help them through your love, through your compassion, through your empathy in those moments, to help to untangle any knots internally within mind or any upset, or through inquiry, asking a question that helps bring a broader perspective. That's love. It's nourishment. It's mercy. It's compassion. All the forgiveness. Once again, it's like, if your child has a behavior that is less ideal, there's such a vastness of acceptance and a vastness of forgiveness, because it's our nature when we are in our essence to express that. It's our nature to offer that. Love is just extending, through us when we are in our true nature and in our true essence.
Sage, that is beautiful, and I love the words that you're putting to it, the vastness of forgiveness, the nourishment, the mercy, the compassion. You mentioned the word compassion, of course, a few times here, and one, I'm a word nerd, and one little fact I'm tempted to bring up here is that I've learned that in Hebrew, the word for compassion shares the same root word in Hebrew as the word womb.
Yes.
And so this likeness between compassion and womb, I think, is a really interesting connection. And, even sometimes in seminars, if you guys have ever been with Tony in a seminar, you may have heard him ask, well, what if your child had, the most horrific behavior you could imagine? Imagine the worst case scenario. Wouldn't you still love your child? And of course, you would frown upon their behavior if it was truly the most horrific thing you could imagine. But I mean, take it to the extreme. Wouldn't you still love your child?
Yes.
And undoubtedly, the person always says, yes, of course I would. No matter what my child did, I would love them. Like, there would never be a lack of love. And so again, here's that essence of the universality of what we're talking about and why it's not just for mothers. Because imagine if we could extend that kind of unconditional love and acceptance in every direction, not just to our own children, but to the far left, to the far right, whatever. Think of the people that make you go, oh, not them.
Yes.
But what would a world look like if we could all love each other with that mother's love? Whoa.
And
in a world that we see stricken with war right now, when people say, what's the answer? I think there's a hint of it somewhere in what we're talking about right now.
I agree. And I think, in an external world right now where there is such confusion and discord and externally blaming, sometimes innocently shaming, or, this versus, good versus bad, or, this side versus that side. I don't know. There's a sweet middle ground. And in that space of understanding and connectedness to recognizing, I think, just the human experience. I think that's where we all meet. We all have our trials and tribulations, and we all have circumstances that are painful. Our little ones have circumstances that are painful in moments. And the beautiful gift of holding the space for another, the beautiful space of presence, of beingness, of a lot of times we think that we have to do something. And I think it's also, there's the gift of not doing, actually just sitting with somebody. If you've never had the privilege to sit with somebody when they're transitioning and leaving this earth, there's as much of a sweetness and a beauty in that reality as there is birthing into this existence. I've had the privilege to be with a few different individuals. And I don't know, there's just such an aliveness, because there's nothing else but, the breath of that moment. Life is so ripe. There's such a beauty, and I think that's, once again, those mother energies. She renews, she restores, she offers, she gives of herself, and adapting and tuning to the circumstance. I think, once again, it's like any great mother walks in and, you're feeling and you're tuning to the room or to your family and seeing what's needed or not needed. I think that's the gift of our awareness and practice, as offering both the gift of mother and father energies, both, because they both have a place. We just happen to be speaking of of the mother principle. Yes.
Right. And you hit there